John, welcome to episode 35.
Taylor, it's amazing that we made it to 35. But we did it with the help of our good friend, who?
Janelle.
Janelle always is a great help.
Dennis Lowe.
Mr. Denny Lowe.
We had so much fun with Dennis. An interview so nice, we had to do it twice.
That's right. So here's a second interview.
Went a little long, so we had a two-parter. And some might say that the second part was even better than the first.
We'll let the audience make that decision.
All right, and you can segue it to Dennis.
And now for part number 2, Mr. Denny Lowe.
When you got a real friend, you don't need much. Just a place to sit and fish is more than enough. When you got a real pal, there's nothing too tough. Together it is better when you got your real bud. Real bud.
Denny, welcome back. It was good talking to you earlier.
Thank you, John. That was a lot of fun last week.
Didn't you wear that last week? And I wore this last week.
Well, I did too.
This is awkward.
Oh, my gosh. Well,
Same
laundry
thing.
day.
Same hat, too.
You know,
Weird.
you just follow laundry day.
It's my Tuesday shirt.
Laundry day.
Well, we ended last week. It was such a nice interview. We had to do it twice.
Great.
And last week we were talking about your music.
Uh-huh.
And I the whole week I was just dying. I forgot to ask you, what was your favorite song to play?
Oh, it would be John Prine's Sam Stone, probably. I think that's one of the more beautiful songs.
Which one is it?
Sam Stone.
Sam Stone?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, his last stuff he wrote and did before he died was phenomenal. I think he was the first famous person I know that died from COVID. And his wife said he just bought a 911 and he never got to drive it.
Oh.
And it was his life. Someday I'm going to have a 911.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'd say Sam Stone probably. And then when it comes to the Irish stuff, I used to love singing Danny Boy. And then about 8,400 times I kind of lost the love of it. But
I remember the time that we went fishing up in South Dakota.
Oh.
And we went into the Moonshine Gulch Saloon.
Yes.
In Rockford.
Yes.
And Betsy, the lady that owned the place, asked you to sing "Oh Danny Boy."
Yeah.
Did she ask you, or were you volunteer? I think you were kind of volunteered for that job.
Yeah, because I just met her. I hadn't met her before. Yeah.
And anyway, you sang "Oh Danny Boy" in the Moonshine Gulch Saloon. And I can remember to this day, you were singing, and there's always conversations going on, and there's just kind of barroom chatter and this, that, and the other. But once you started singing, you could just hear it get progressively quiet until the very end. And when you hit the very end, the very last note, I could see Betsy squeezing your stomach a little bit, or your side.
Yeah.
Because she loved it so much.
Yeah. That place in itself is oh God, what a joint.
Anybody gets a chance and they're in Rockford, South Dakota. I don't know why you would be there, but the only reason you need to be there is to go in and see Betsy at the Moonshine Gulch Saloon. It is a fabulous place.
You suppose she's still there?
Last I heard, she was still there. She was still going strong.
Yeah.
Still at it.
Well, John always talks about in Branson when you were singing, and he had a tear come to his eye when you were singing on the stream.
That's right. You sang it on the stream for me one time.
In that really thick fog?
Right.
Yes, I did that as a joke.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to say.
Because you couldn't see the guy in front of you. It was like, and I knew there were a bunch of
not
people
a joke.
talking
it was
down
memorable,
there.
Far memorable.
Yeah, I remember that. But isn't that funny? I can remember just about every place I ever sang. It's embedded in my mind. But I sang with the owners up there, and Duffy, after Tim had passed away, asked me if I'd sing it at night, and it was dark out on the front porch. And gosh, that place, it's magic, just magic.
Which place is that again?
The
Buffalo Wild Wings?
Silver City.
Oh, up in Silver City,
Yeah.
South Dakota. Yeah.
Yeah. That place, and got to do a wedding in Vail, and that was, oh God, what a topper! Looking out on that and singing, it just makes you want to grow wings. But
Yeah. Well, I think you underestimate yourself when you say you're not a very good guitar player, because I think there's a lot of people around the greater Kansas City area that would disagree with that. And I'm going to be at the top of the list on that, because I've heard you play, and you are just phenomenal when it comes to playing the guitar.
I appreciate
as well as your voice and what you've given back to Kansas City, and the enjoyment that you've given my family, all of my family, and
thank you,
my
John.
kids and grandkids.
Thank you.
We've still got like 40 minutes left in the episode, but
Well,
if
I
you
know
want
we
to
do it. I'm not closing it out. I just want to make sure that I get that said.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. You bet.
All right. What next, John?
Well, Taylor, what's your question?
That was my question. What was your favorite song? What was your favorite place to sing, or that and song that you would sing today if you could? Like, if you could get up there on a stage, what would you sing?
Oh, probably
Besides-
Sam Stone, and if not that, it would be maybe Willie McBride.
I got some Googling to do after this episode.
Okay.
Oh, Willie McBride, I got to do with Scartaglen, and that.
Oh, that was amazing.
Geez, that's a great song.
It is a great song.
Just wonderful.
Yeah.
And
Can I tell you my favorite? My favorite that you sing is "Sing a Song for Ireland."
oh, I got to do that with Scartaglen too.
Yeah.
Yes, Dick Coggan wrote that. He's a Scotsman, and
I won't hold it against him.
yeah, I was staying in Ireland, I guess, for a couple of months or something, and wrote that. That's a gorgeous song.
Oh, it really is, especially if you're a fisherman. You
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
It just pulls it all together. for
Yeah,
you.
silver darting in the sun, the salmon.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
Yep.
That's something that just absolutely, when I die, if there is an afterlife, and I'm sure there will be for me, I don't know about anybody else, but how a person can write some of these down. I have a daughter who's a very well-known poet throughout the world. I mean, she's got 3 books. She's been nominated for a Pulitzer. She's got all kinds of stuff. And her husband's a poet, a very good one. He's published several books on poetry. Matter of fact, this year he was the Iowa Writers Guild Poetry Book of the Year or Writer of the Year.
I'm too dumb to know what that exists, but
yeah, and the way people can write and take these thoughts out of their head and put them down on paper is one thing that a poet can do. And then you take a songwriter, and he's not only written these beautiful, beautiful lyrics, but he's got a whole tune that nobody else has ever written before.
they must have some good fights at home. 2 poets fighting each other.
Oh,
How
well, that's
would that-
another.
that'd
That's
be
another episode.
Romeo.
Yeah. It's
They was talking old times Roman.
yeah. Their daughter, John just met her. As a matter of fact, she just turned 7, and she was over 6 months to a year ago. And Jean said, "Marcella, can I get you a snack?" And she looked up and said, "Do you have any clams?" He's from New Jersey. Very
Clams.
Yeah, I got any clams? And I thought she was. I said, "Do you know what a clam is?" You know. So it's 2 different cultures altogether, New Jersey and Midwest coming together. But they do a wonderful job of it. They got wonderful children, and they're both very good writers. Very good writers.
Well, this works out well. It's a good segue into one of my segments that I wanted to play for you today. You talk about songwriting and how hard it is. Well, there's a new site that's AI that will write you a song, and I wanted to play one for you today. Does that work?
Yeah.
I told John today that I had a segment where AI made a song for us, and he said, well, you'll have to have your cousin perform it. But the song is performed by this as well. This song is called The Ballad of Dennis Lowe.
Ooh, holy moly me.
So I just gave it some prompts, said, I want you to play or make a bluegrass song about Dennis Lowe and some other things, and then it put this out there.
What are the other things?
mighty fine plan, but he had some demands for his number one fan. He said, I need blue M&Ms, no other kind will do, and a private bathroom just for me, that's true. I'll share my stories, make you laugh and smile, but don't cross me off, 'cause I'll go the extra mile. Oh, Dennis Lowe, what a guy, what a star, with his banjo in hand, he'll play it loud and far. But little did we know he had a secret plan. He walked out the door with our dear Otis in hand.
Well, I said, make a song bluegrass about Dennis Lowe coming on the podcast with his demands of this, and at the end, I want you to have a twist of his whole plan was to steal Otis all along. So,
wow, isn't this AI going to be something?
So this is it's kind of crazy how it can do something in 4 seconds that it would take me 4 months to do.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't write a song if I had to. I can't even write my address, let alone a song. You know.
Well, let's try it, John. What do you want this? What do you want this to be about?
What's that?
We're gonna make a song real quick.
Okay.
So,
Denny, what would you like to have a song made out of?
Made of?
Yeah, we're going to do a song right now.
About?
Whatever you want.
Fly fishing in Branson.
Fly fishing in Branson. Good.
1 second. Okay. Song about fly fishing.
How about a song about a guy who brings a candle to a fishing expedition in a cabin with 6 men? And we go in the bathroom and there's this little candle lit. And everybody looks at each other and said, who brought the candle? What's that candle doing there? It smells like lavender. Somebody said, that's John. John Ryan bought that candle.
I did not bring that candle.
He brought the candle.
I did not
and he had the guts to light it in front of all those men, those rugged outdoorsmen. He said,
Denny Lowe.
That's the truth, isn't it?
It is not.
And then
No, it is
my
not.
favorite one was, oh gosh, what were those little statues that I got you one?
Gnomes?
No.
No. Hummels?
No, you wish. These
No,
were.
not a word.
This is a manufacturer down in Missouri. Oh gosh, pleasant memories, or
Oh,
what was that? I gotta tell you, I got another story for you, Taylor. I got a couple more stories for you.
We don't need stories.
Precious moments.
Precious moments.
That's what it was. And we're driving down the road, going fishing, and there's a sign that says "Precious Moments." This exit. John says, "You guys ever been there? Precious Moments?" And no one said yes.
No one said a word.
And John just said, "Well, you ought to go there. It's really pretty cool." So
I did not say.
where's that Precious Moments statue
no
anyway? I got him a Precious Moments to put on his dashboard.
I'm sure it went to the trash the first week it was.
So you actually went?
No.
Well, he said he had.
Well, where'd you get the precious moment from?
Oh, I had it someplace in the garage sale or somewhere.
I think Gene had one in the garage or something.
Yeah, maybe it worked. Because Gene was producing that kind of nothing along those lines. But yeah, and the other one, we were having a long, wonderful night of drinking in our room. 5 or 6 of us again, I guess. And John had already had his share and said, "I'll tell you guys, the most beautiful woman I have ever seen in my life. You're going to be surprised probably when I tell you, but
No, I didn't say that.
I've seen her in person, face to face. She is gorgeous. And I said, well, God, who is it? He said, Barbara Billingsley.
I don't know who that is, but you told this story before, and I looked her up, and she was not.
Barbara Billingsley was Leave It to Beaver's mom.
John fell in love with her, I guess, when he was in junior high.
That was not the case. There was no fantasies or any of that. Just to set the record straight, folks.
Good thing Mary Alice listens to this.
Oh, gosh.
All right. Well, I put in your song prompt, and I'm
Okay.
hitting create now. So I want you to see how fast it does this.
All right.
It's thinking. It's thinking. This is called Fishin' and Branson. It gives you two versions. It's almost there.
German operatic.
All right. Here we go.
Das Fliegen.
The rod's got the gear all back. Headed to Branson, gonna catch us some snack. Me and my boy John, we on the grind. Fly fishing in the river, gonna blow your mind. Casting out lines, watching the lures flow. Keeping it real while the water below. Sun shining bright, beauty all around. Catching big ones, ain't no time to frown. Me and John, we spitting rhymes by the stream. Flying high like a trout in a dream. Reeling them in one by one, that's how we do. John's so amazed, he don't know what to do.
What's the world going to?
Is that it? Oh, well, yeah, I said a rap song about fly fishing in Branson with your friend John. You go, or you sing to him. Oh, I spelled sing wrong. So you sign to him. You sing to him,
the
and
Chinese way.
I said,
John's so amazed, he don't know what to do.
I don't know if it's done. Didn't know there's a second stanza.
Better get John to stop dancing. He's going to twist his ankle over there.
I know. I didn't.
Anyway, it said you sing to him and he cries so hard that he poops in his waders, but it didn't ever.
It
say
did
that
go
part.
through.
Anything you want to try?
No, I don't think so.
I think we're scared to do this.
All right, we'll save it for the next
This is
time.
way beyond our grade level, Denny.
Pooping in your waiter.
Yeah. It's kind of a common thing.
I'd rather not discuss it.
Yeah, really. Toe touches the water and we're done.
All right. Well, we have a bit of time left. John, what's your next question for Dennis Lowe?
Oh, Denny, what are we going to talk about here? What would you like to talk about? We could start talking about some of the episodes that we've had, like we did before, and some of the ones down in Branson and
Well, we'd have to
in
bring
South Dakota.
some friends into that. who
We'd
may
have
not-
to, we would, and
may
the
not
lawyers.
appreciate
We'd have to get the lawyers involved again. And,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
My God. The hotel, the motel, where everybody was breaking into the room. I was taking a nap, and Duffy decides to crawl through the window. And what was he going to do? He tried to scare me or something. And she was...
I remember that.
Yeah, and the lady who owned the place was at the front desk. And
And I was talking to her at the front
Yeah.
desk. She just looks up and she goes, "Oh, it's just that guy."
Yeah. You said, there's somebody crawling in the window up there. And she looked around and went, oh, it's just those guys.
Just those guys.
No big deal.
It's kind of the way the whole thing went.
Oh, my
It-
God. Our fishing trips, regardless, I'm not a good, fisherman by any means. I just love to go, love to do it, love to tie flies, love to make rods. But I'm not a good fisherman by any means. I just love to be there. That's all.
It's just fun.
If I catch one fish, I'm fine. I've been successful. So
That's my it's the zen of, as Steve always says. It's
Fritz?
It's always the zen of fishing, fly fishing, because if you catch one, great. If
Yeah.
it's not just catching the fish.
Right.
It's the preparation. It's where your location.
Yeah.
The surroundings that you're in. But most importantly, it's with all the good friends that you're with.
Yeah. I bought a pin in every state that I've caught a trout in. Not any other fish, just trout.
So what are you doing with those 3 pins?
Well, I lost one of them. There's only 2 left.
Gene got rid of one.
One's in Missouri, one's in Kansas. It's hard catching a trout in Kansas. I'll tell you, buddy.
Well, John gets a precious moment in each state that
Oh.
Yeah. But that's the thrill I get out of it, is going to a spot like Matthew was saying one time. You go to the place and you just try to figure out where would the fish be, how would they, what would they be eating now, and that type of thing. That was the biggest shock I got. I read literally books on the subject of flies and when to use this fly and when to use that fly. And I went, which I used to do a lot of by myself. So I went down to Bennett Springs, and I've got this fly box with the flies in it, and I'm catching nothing, and everybody around me is catching fish. And I said, "What are you using?" He said, "Glow ball." I said, "What?"
A what?
A glow ball. I said, "What is that?" I've got a blue olive here, and I've got a pheasant tail in here.
Beautifully tied, I might add.
Yeah, and he's got glow balls. I said, "Well, what do they represent?" He said,
you can't ask that in today's culture.
Oh, that's right.
You can't ask another man about his.
Yeah, we can. Well, you'll have to scratch that one. Yeah.
Should we Google it?
Glow bulb. And, that's what you use. You use a piece of a sock. My sister went down with her boyfriend and had a trophy trout. And she said the guide that they'd hired took a piece of white cotton. He said, "I just cut up sweat socks and put them on the hook and caught that giant trout." And Matthew got me catching fish one day down there with just the smallest white fly you've got, he said. So I put a little tiny scud on there, and they just biting it like crazy. So I don't know. I self-educated, and I don't think it made a damn bit of difference.
No, I'm the same boat. I
can't
have
catch
no
a bug.
idea what to use or what to begin with or any of that.
Yeah, you always go with a woolly bugger.
I just go with woolies to start out with, and then kind of move on from there.
Yeah.
If my life depended on it, if I had to catch dinner for Janelle, and I had no other means, if there wasn't a McDonald's down the street, I would care and I would try to learn more. But it's not fun for me to, I don't know, be so uptight about it,
Yeah.
Like I'll try different things, but it's not like.
I started out uptight. I did. And then the internet was just coming around at the time. And I found a trout thing and wrote on there that I was on my first fishing trip, didn't get a bite, and was so frustrated I was ready to throw it in. And, of course, everybody wrote me and said, "You little twit, what the hell's the matter with you?
Baby.
You think you're going to catch a fish first time?
Right. What's wrong with you?"
Yeah. I sat and cried for a couple hours, and then I decided I'm going to try it again.
Fetal position.
Yeah, right. But it's really now just getting together with friends and having dinner. Right. And if the fish are biting, great. If they're not, so what?
Yep.
Speaking of biting and catching a fish, do you want to go over this week your win of the week, your catch of the week?
Ooh.
I don't know if you came prepared with a victory of the week.
Yes. What was it, though? I forgot what it was.
A memorable one. John, do you have one?
I do have one.
You can say yours while he thinks
my win of the week is my grandkids are finally home for the summer.
Yeah.
And so that's a big win for us. It's always good to see them.
Yeah.
Missed them a lot.
They mow your lawn again for.
I got my yard guy back again for this summer.
$125?
No, not quite.
You can go mow Denny's lawn.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe I'll hire him. I don't know.
He has his own car, so that's a plus.
I'm a pretty strict warlord when it comes time.
Oh, well, then that's double. That's double time.
Don't you hate guys like that?
No.
Good God. I mean, we got a guy in our neighborhood that it's his whole life. His whole life. If that lawn dies, he's, I pray for rain occasionally and say, that's good. That's all I need to do. I'm just not that dedicated to grass. I just, and our son
Wait a
now.
minute. Wait a minute. You're not that dedicated to grass.
Yeah. I was.
You didn't
69.
say that in college.
69 through 73. Oh, no. I had a terrible time. I tried it in college several times. And people say that's impossible. Couldn't happen. I hallucinated terribly. I mean, terribly. To where I was a madman running around. So I just decided this isn't for me. I can't do that.
There's certain things best left alone.
Yeah.
I
You
get
say,
it.
oh, man, it's going to mellow. Yeah, it's going to make it feel.
Yeah, it feel good.
I watched a guy's shoes grow into clown shoes one night. It just took off and grew right in front of my eyes. Jeez.
Did you think of your win of the week?
Well,
I hope it's not clown shoes.
my win of the week is probably going to be this new book I found that I've really enjoyed, The Bedford Boys. And it's World War II in a town in Virginia that I think 3,000 population at the time, and they had 22 of their boys killed on D-Day, and they were the first regiment to go in. It's just fascinating. It goes back into their lives and their families and all of that. So if I get a good book once a week, I'm great. I got plenty of time to read now, and I run the gamut, just about everything I can find. So
If I get a good book once a year, I'm good.
well, I used to be too, but now that I'm retired, it's old people take on different interests, historical interests. I don't know why, but
I just have trouble with the words.
oh, you have dyslexia.
I just can't sound them out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like sing, I saw that.
Yes, but
You were
signs.
spelling it
I think
like
I am dyslexic.
like sing.
My week of the win is, well,
How about win of the week? Is that got anything to do with week of the win?
week of the win. I don't really have a great one. Also, you mentioned the neighborhood lawn mowing and all that. I saw a meme today. Are you guys familiar with memes?
Yes.
Okay. Saw one that said, adult peer pressure is just seeing your neighbor mow his lawn first. And it resonated with me.
Because
whenever
that
my
is
neighbor-
a good one.
That's a good one.
My neighbor
like
mows
that.
his. Yeah, you have the pressure to go out there and do yours right away. 'Cause you can't be.
You bet.
And along those lines, one of my Taylor's random thoughts was, it's a sad day when you demote a pair of shoes to your lawn shoes.
Oh,
I
that's-
just did it.
You got a pair of New
Deep
Balances.
Thoughts by John Dack.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yep.
Once those
Yeah,
hokies
that's a
got
good
that
one,
green
Taylor.
grass stain on them, you can't wear them ever again.
That's right.
The full-time lawn mowing ones, and then
Next thing you know, there's going to be paint on them.
Oh, yeah.
Get
that's the
drops
end
of
it
paint
all.
on it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
happened this weekend to me. So you're absolutely right, Taylor.
Thank
good,
you.
Good choice.
I had a pair of Hokas that I wore outside one time
A
to
what?
mow. It's a shoe. We
Okay.
both wear them sometimes.
Hokas or hookah?
Hoka.
Well, he did hookahs in college, and now
Okay.
we're
So I'm
doing
trying to get a clarification on this. Okay.
HOKA.
Okay, thank you.
And they're the thick soles that we wear that look like geriatric shoes. I have a couple pairs of them. Anyway, I wore them outside one time to mow, not thinking after I did the walk with Otis, and they almost became my mowing shoes on accident. But I cleaned them, and they're back to
Good deal.
runner-up on deck. I didn't have a great win of the week. I just had a story about when I went and bought your blue M&Ms from Party City on 135th and Antioch. And
Oh, my gosh.
I walked in there and I just went straight for the M&Ms. And when I checked out, I had a lie made up in my head for what I was going to say when she asked why I was buying the M&Ms. So I was going to tell her that I was getting them for a graduation party. And then when she told me asked who it was for, I was going to say my nephew, Patrick. And she'd say, oh, where's he graduating from? And I had to think Bishop Miege because they have royal blue in their colors. So,
Yeah.
Whoa. You
So
got
I-
that nailed
Fast
down.
on his feet.
so yeah, I had to
Yeah.
think of all those things just to lie. And
Just in game.
she never cared. She just said, here's your receipt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
here
the
you
hell
go.
out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of,
Get the hell out of here. Security.
What is the fear? What is it that you'll be thought of as is that a feminine trait to buy blue M&Ms? Is it?
well, I actually wanted to ask you because going into our next topic, your career, you were a therapist, right? Or counselor. What was your title?
clinical social worker.
Okay. Well, John often tells me I should give you a call because I could use some professional help. So I joke about it, but it's a cool thing you were doing, a cool career. It's admirable. Do you have any stories you can tell about that are not PHI?
Oh, man, yeah. Well, I had one that was so funny. The man shot his wife.
Well, that's amusing.
After church, she was outside with her girlfriends talking, and he pulled up in the car and kept yelling at her to hurry up, and she wouldn't come. She was talking to a friend, so he got out and went over and shot her. So, I mean, I was in disbelief when they're telling me this. This was many, many years ago, and they're long gone by now. But
who was they? Was it the couple?
The couple. Yeah.
Oh, they were in person talking about this?
Yes, with me, yeah. And they were late 70s, early 80s. And his comment was, "Oh, Mr. Counselor, I just shot her in the foot." I had no idea where to go from there.
What do you say?
Oh, well, that's all right then. Let's move on.
Let's just hand me another bandage, please.
Yeah.
Did he not go to jail for that or what?
No, she never turned him in. She was still mad at him, but
Well,
She had it coming.
that's why they came to see me. Yeah.
oh, gee,
Yeah, and
great.
I did it as a second career. I did industrial real estate for at least 15 years after college. I got out of college with a degree in sociology, so the headhunters were, passing me by quite a bit. They weren't interested in what I had to offer at the time, so I got a job in an Italian restaurant in the kitchen, and then I ended up coming here to Kansas City from Colorado, and ended up, a friend of mine was in industrial real estate, actually my neighbor, and he talked me into it. And one thing led to another. I ended up going from a small Boardman Hutchings small group of 5 brokers, and then I went to North Kansas City Development Company when my first child was born, because it was straight commission in the industrial real estate, and man, that's a risky business. And I went to North Kansas City Development Company and really, really enjoyed that job, and ended up, it was just crazy. My boss was crazy, man. So anyway, I went over to Hunt Midwest and stayed there for quite a long time, and I was telling John on the way over here, then the Crow Brothers, and then I decided I got to get out of this business and go back to what I was meant to do. And as I thought through college, I got my sociology and psychology degrees, and so I went back to KU and got my master's in 5 years at night, and left poor Jean at home with the kids. And as our kicker for the Chiefs would say, she was where she's supposed to be. And
Whoa.
I got to do what I wanted to do, and started with that. And then I got my MSW, and you're somewhat limited with an MSW in that you can do social work, but there's certain types that you need to get further education in, and that was a couple of years. And then I got my clinical MSW, and that enabled me to work as an independent clinical psychologist type. It wasn't a psychology degree or license, it was a social work license. And then I stayed in that until I retired. I ended up the last 12 years at Lee's Summit Alternative High School, and it was for the kids who just weren't functioning highly in the school environment. We had up to 110 kids at a time, and that was a job and a half. Exciting, absolutely thrilling, fun, and then of course heartbreak, just one after the other. And I didn't take good enough care of myself. I should have gone to all the social work clinics and things that they had. But once you get into a school, they go on a schedule like military, I guess. I don't mean to upset you, John, but I know how your military.
Yeah, it's the it harkens back to
all that pain you went through. But,
back in when we were camping out that day.
Yeah, in Waynesville. It was
Waynesville,
awful.
Missouri.
So anyway, it was an absolute blast, and I loved it. You get to be part of this team of people that all work for kids that other people weren't willing to work for. You know, they just they considered themselves teachers, and you get it good if you know, get the hell out of here. And that wasn't many of them. I mean, gosh, we were next door to Lee Summit West, and Lee Summit high schools are superb high schools, but the alternative school fit a very necessary spot. And we had some really tough characters. I mean, some kids that had been through the mill, and I was heading towards 65 when I began to realize, my God, I can't keep this up much longer. You're there at 7 and you leave at 5, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And you do get your Christmas break, you get your summer break, but I would take kids who didn't have summer coverage and try to be there for them when necessary without killing myself. But I was getting too old for it, and I knew that when a kid got into a fight with a kid behind me. I was standing out by the school bus, and he was pointing at the kid and yelling at him, calling him obscenities, and I'm trying to calm him down. And the kid finally got on the school bus, and I got the kid calmed down and took him back into the school. Principal was there with us, and principal saw it from a distance, and he thought the kid was pointing and screaming at me. And he said, you know, the way you spoke to Mr. Lowe is just not acceptable. We're not going to allow that here. And he said, what do you mean to Mr. Lowe? And he said, I saw you threatening Mr. Lowe, pointing at him and screaming at him. He said, oh, man, you think I'd beat up an old man like Mr. Lowe? God, no, it wasn't Mr. Lowe. I wouldn't do that. And I just looked at the principal, and he just bellered and laughed. Thought it was the funniest thing. You get with these kids, and sometimes all you can do is sit there with them, let them talk. You know, they come from homes that have just been broken up and no home to go home to, and just really, really down and out. But it was a wonderful job. I wish I had done it right out of college. At that time, there's so many changes going on. I think the highest offer they offered in Colorado was $800 a month. And I thought, even I can't live on that. But then I stayed out of it. But then I did get back into it at 35. I went back to school and got my license when I was 40. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I'd love to keep doing it, but it's not an old man's job.
Well, I'm getting nervous because it's going to turn off at any minute. Do you have any parting questions for Dennis?
I don't. Denny, thank you very much for being here with us.
Well, thank you guys.
We
I'm
had such
honored.
a great time.
I'm honored.
As always.
And I'm sorry I told the stories about you, John.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right.
It's out of the bag.
Next week, I'm going to start telling some about you.
When you're not here.
Yeah.
Well, I made I made one more AI song to say goodbye with.
Okay. Let's
So
hear it. Let's
Here
hear it.
is the Irish Jig.
Oh, Dennis Lowe, you're our friend. We thank you for being on the podcast, my friend. The laughter we share, the stories we told with you, it never gets old. Come back soon, dear Dennis Lowe. We miss your Irish charm, it's true. Your wit and humor make us smile. You're a real bud, we'll walk every mile.
Not gonna walk.
Oh, Dennis Lowe, you're a true friend. With you the good times never end. We raise a glass, a toast in your name. Oh, Dennis, please come back, it won't be the same.
How did you get the Dubliners to do that?
I don't know. They're what are they called? The Hermioneans?
Hermione.
No, it's Hermione Gingo.
Hibernians.
Was that her name? Hermione
Yeah,
Gingo.
Hermione. Yeah.
Who? The girl from Harry Potter?
Yeah. Harry Potter.
Okay, I didn't watch the movie. I knew that's.
Hermione Gingo was an old singer, like back in the 40s, I think.
I don't remember.
It's
that.
John's second crush next to Beaver's mom.
Barbara Billingsley.
Hermione what?
Gingo.
Gringo?
Gingo.
Gingold?
Gingo, I think.
I
have no
LD.
idea how to spell it.
Born in 1897. English actress?
Hermione Gingo? There it is.
Her?
Oh my God. There really is. There it is. Where does that name come from? I mean,
I don't know. Who
what
knows?
the hell's going on up there in your brain?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Show her to John. Tell him the next story, John. That next time you
Oh my
have,
gosh.
have a few drinks, say, most beautiful lady I've
Yeah,
ever seen.
Gosh, is gorgeous.
Hermione
Just
Gingo.
oh, she's Hermione.
Well, thanks, Dennis. See ya.
Thank you, buddy.